So you're contemplating moving to Montana? Well, in this video, we're going to explore the community of Hamilton, Montana at the base of the beautiful Bitterroot Mountains in Ravalli County. We're going to go out and explore some of the highlights of Hamilton and take you through some neighborhoods so that you can take a look at the homes. We'll give you some price points so that you can determine whether or not some of these properties might be within your budget. If this is your first time to the Montana Real Estate channel, you'll want to subscribe, tap that notifications button so whenever we load a new video about a Montana community that you'll be the first to know. I'm Craig Cyphers, and I work with my third generation realtor daughter, Erica, and we handle Cyphers Family Real Estate, and my family's been helping folks transition to Montana for 57 years, since 1966. We get calls, emails, and texts every day from folks just like you who are looking to make the move to Montana. So whether you're planning on moving in the next 9 days, 90 days, 3 years, or 3 months, we want to be a resource for you. So watch for our new videos coming out in the communities in western Montana, and let's go take a look at Hamilton today. The first thing we're going to do today is we're going to go down Main Street in Hamilton and take a look at what the business district looks like there. Hamilton is a community of a population of about 5,000 people and sits in the Rockies at the base of the Bitterroot Mountains at about 3,570 feet. It was incorporated in 1894, and it was named after James Hamilton, who in 1890 platted the town along with the route of the Northern Pacific Railroad from the north. Now, Hamilton was an employee of Marcus Daly, who was a copper king with mines in Butte and a smelter in Anaconda, and copper was in high demand as the country was being electrified. So Daly had originally wanted to start business in the county seat of Grantsdale that was named after President Grant, but he was rebuffed, so he built Hamilton out of the money out of his own pocket. Now you can see Daly's opulent estate featured in another video on the Montana Real Estate channel. Now on the end of this street, which is Main Street, is Marcus Daly Memorial Hospital, and it actually opened its doors in July of 1931, and it was funded by Margaret Daly in memory of her late husband, Marcus. So we're going to take a look at that. In the meantime, as we go down Main Street, you'll see, for example, Hamilton's Assembly of God Church, large congregation there, variety of other little businesses and homes on Main Street. Some of those homes are anywhere from 1,200 square feet. They're built in the 40s, 2-bed, 1-bath. Now, at Marcus Daly, the present hospital at the end of the Main Street here on Westwood was opened in this location, and it opened with 7 physicians, 16 registered nurses, and 12 nurses' aides. And today, Marcus Daly Memorial is Bitterroot Health with over 650 caregivers throughout the valley. It is an award-winning healthcare group, and it has, in fact, it's #1 in the state of Montana and #4 in the nation for hospitals of its size serving the communities that it does. And you'll note in our other videos when we talk about other communities in the Bitterroot Valley, almost every one of them has access to a clinic and doctors with a Bitterroot Health facility, and most of these are very new within the last year or two. So you have great access to health care in the Bitterroot Valley. And of course, to the north, about an hour or so, is Missoula, where you have world-class health care. So that's one of the great things about the Bitterroot Valley is the access to health care. So important if you're moving to this part of Montana. We leave the Marcus Daly Memorial Hospital campus here on the west end of Hamilton. We'll headed east on Main Street. That's the Justice Building there for the city of Hamilton. And there are a number of businesses again on Hamilton Main Street, and also a smattering of homes as well. and professional buildings, etc. And it's a beautiful and clean, and you can see it's got some wonderful mature trees, these little houses that house businesses on Main Street. And then as we get in deeper onto the east side, we'll find a larger business, including one coming up here on the left, which is the Creamery building, which was turned into office space. So it provides a number of office facilities for professional folks. And then right next to that is the post office in downtown. Now downtown has a couple of four-way stops and just two on Main Street, just two traffic lights. So it's small, quaint. It has a lot of the things and services that you need. For example, right here is Bell McCall. That's the local Ford dealership. So you can buy yourself a new Ford pickup right there in Hamilton. And wonderful bookstore on the corner. Here we're at another four-way stop. We have a title company that you may see me going into in the first part of our videos. A stationery store called the Paperclip. And we also have the best hamburgers in Montana, if not the country, at Nat's Grill right there. And then we've got Ford's variety store where you can get your jeans, your shoes, so you don't have to go all the way to Missoula to get the items that you need. And of course, the must-haves such as your barber shop and one of the regional banks right there on the corner. Now, First Street is actually Highway 93. It's a U.S. highway. It is 4-lane and a lot of business on this. You can see there's, the end with the banks. We've got a tire store, and then we've got the Exit Realty building, which houses the Idaho, Montana franchise offices, as well as Bitterroot Valley, Exit Realty Bitterroot Valley South. Now, that building is a large commercial building that we have for sale with 33,000 square feet. So if you have anybody that you know that does redevelopment, it's a great opportunity. A local credit union. So everything that you need is in Hamilton, from healthcare to housing, including hotel, motels, fast food joints, everything from McDonald's, KFC, Dairy Queen, Burger King, Papa Murphy's. You got it. This particular day was a very nice day in the Bitterroot, and up on First Street going north, we even have a Walgreens at the corner. So what we'll do then is we also have wonderful grocery stores. We got a lot of all the services that you need. Everything that you need is right there in Hamilton. So now what we're going to do is we'll head back south down First Street or Highway 93 and see some of the businesses that sit around, in that corridor there. And you'll find that on the east side of First Street, much of that property is owned by Montana Rail Link. The train no longer runs down that spur line. It was really primarily put in for mining and timber purposes. That was first platted, of course, as I mentioned earlier, by James Hamilton. But for example, this Safeway store is actually on Montana Rail Link ground, which was a part of the Northern Pacific Railroad back in the 1890s, 1894 or so. And then it's been a variety of ownership there, including Burlington, BNSF, Burlington Northern South, Santa Fe. Montana Rail Link has owned it for many, many years, and now they own this spur line where they lease a lot of this ground to these various businesses. So you got your gas stations, great place to eat, have breakfast, particularly is right there. It's called the Coffee Cup. Highly recommend the Coffee Cup for breakfast for sure. And then another local grocery store. So we get down here to the south end of Hamilton, and what we're going to do is we're going to pop out into one of the older subdivisions, if you will, or additions in part of Hamilton. It's on the south side. We call it the south side because it's the south side of Main Street. And we'll go take a look at some of these homes and see how things look. Right here on the left, that was a honey factory. Now it's the Bitterroot Bouncers. Kind of an interesting story about who has occupied that over the last few years. It's been the folks with the Yellowstone. So let's go take a look at a neighborhood. So this South Side neighborhood is a mix of properties. They'll go anywhere from the 1930s, 40s. This property right here was built in the it's a 1940s. It's 6,000 square feet, 9 full baths and 7 bathrooms. This home was built in 1909. It's 2,500 square feet. Then when we come around the corner, we're going to get into some newer properties. And these properties were built primarily in the 50s and early 60s, and they've all been renovated. Some really beautiful homes. I have a friend of mine who owns a gorgeous home right here on Bailey. And this, again, you can see the beautiful views of the Bitterroot Mountains. And we're going to get down here and we're going to go to the Skalkahole Bend Park. Spokane has a number of great parks, and actually was put together with help from the Bitterroot Land Trust, and it puts together the River Park and Trail, where you can run into Moose the Bruce. At any rate, wonderful trail system right along the river. You also have American Legion Park, the Bandshell and Claudia Driscoll Park, the Hamilton Dog Park, Hieronymus Park, Kiwanis Park, Skate Park. It's just a tremendous area for hiking and really enjoying the outdoors. There are some additional homes on the south side of Hamilton, and we're going to come across something quite extraordinary that is very unique to Hamilton. Many years ago, Montana Board of Entomology Laboratory opened in 1928 by the Montana State Board of Entomology to study Rocky Mountain spotted fever and ticks. And they really started, having problems with ticks in the 1900s. And so in 1928, they opened this, and then they actually had a moat around it. But the lab, because of what was happening with Rocky Mountain spotted fever across the United States, the federal government purchased Rocky Mountain Lab, and today it is a biosafety level 4 laboratory. It has been, I think, since probably about 2008, where they study everything from Ebola to most recently COVID-19. And so as we go through these wonderful residential neighborhoods, in the very back you can see towards the west of the mountains some, the actual site of Rocky Mountain Laboratories. And this is fascinating. There are only 9 of these types of facilities in the United States, and it is extremely secure, heavily guarded, as you might guess. It was quite controversial when the lab was put in initially, and then, of course, most recently, it has had some controversy, only from the standpoint that people get kind of concerned that something might escape down there, but it's extremely secure and is a tremendous employer in the area. So that's Rocky Mountain Lab with the National Institutes of Health. And in this area is the Francis of Assisi Catholic Church that was built in 1896 at a cost of $5,000 on land that was given to the diocese by Marcus Daly, and then the annex that was built in 2006. And there was a home right there that was built in 1900, about 3,100 square feet. And this was the original Marcus Daly Hospital that Mrs. Daly had built, and we talked about earlier. And later it was bought by the county of River Valley and turned into the county annex, where you get your driver's license or get your license plates and go to your clerk and recorder's office, and the county commissioners are housed here. So that's a super historic building, the old Marcus Daly Memorial Hospital. And then just up the street from that is our library. And then right next to that is the old fire department, which will be repurposed here shortly. They just built a brand new one just on the east side of First Street or Highway 93. So that's a beautiful new building just occupied within the last few months. And then built in 1910 is the AF and AM Fraternal Hall. And next to that is another great eatery called Booyah. Highly recommend checking out their food. So let's check out a residential neighborhood. This is Stonegate Meadows. And Stonegate Meadows was developed in the mid-90s to the early 2000s. And the homes in here range in size from 1,200 square feet up to 2,000 plus square feet, 2,100 or so, 2,400. They sell for anywhere between the mid to upper 300s to the mid 400s. And the last one that sold in this neighborhood was in April of 2023. And it listed for and sold for $479,000. And that's just under $200 a square foot. So that gives you an idea about budget and what you might expect to pay for a home in Stonegate Meadows. These homes are on about a quarter-acre lot. And then on the far end here are the Stockyard Court townhomes. And they are very new. In April of 23, let's see, those were actually built in 2023. And they're two-story with a one-car garage underneath. Those are 1,320 square feet. All the bedrooms upstairs, and they are currently, there are a couple of them in there that are listed for $399. And so this end of the development there at Stonegate is actually a different development with these townhomes in it. We'll also find that there's a number of multifamily for rentals, and rents can go anywhere from $1,100 up to $1,600 for a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment. So rents are fairly expensive. You could probably pick up a rental home here, for around $1,600 to $1,700, but it's very hard to find. And currently, there isn't a home that's for sale in Stonegate Meadows. Now, Stonegate Meadows was developed by a local production builder, and they were very prolific. And the property on this side of First Street, a good deal of it was purchased by a farm ranch guy out of Stevensville, Montana, who ended up selling a ranch in that area. And again, you can check out the Stevensville rural market and see some of the properties that are available there. But they also put together another development that we're going to go see right now, and that's called the Arbors. And the Arbors was a development that was put together and started in the late 2000s, kind of after Stonegate Meadows kind of got built out. And the properties at Arbors are again about quarter-acre lots. Those houses in here range between 1,400 to 2,000 plus square feet, and they're priced from the low 400s up to as much as 619 for a 2,200 square foot 4-bed, 4-bath unit that recent sold in here. And there are a number of these that are on, they're ranch style. These weren't built with basements. You do see some 1.5-story, 2-story in here, very close to down. Again, fairly small lots and relatively new. Very desirable area. Again, nothing available for sale in Arbors right now. And remember, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Our contact information is in the description below. And we would love to talk with you about what you might be interested in. If you see something that is appealing to you and want to know a little more, please reach out to us, and we're happy to help. We want to be a resource for you. Now, over near the fairgrounds is another townhouse development over there. And that townhouse development is right here. It's called Fair Park Townhomes. All of these were built in 2023. They're 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,300 square feet. Again, $399 is the list price. Here's Hamilton High School. There are 3 grade schools in Hamilton and 1 high school, approximately 550 students. These folks won the state championship here in the last few years for football. This is a brand new campus on 26 acres, beautiful facility, wonderful stadium there for the Bronx. And they've got wonderful racket tennis courts. And they have a wonderful theater which hosts national acts by Bitterroot Performing Arts Council, from ballet to Don McLean doing American Pie, to a sold-out audience. So it's a wonderful high school. Now here's Racetrack Trail condos. These are duplexes and also detached condos where you can lock it and walk. Concept is that if you are a snowbird, you can enjoy your Montana summers and hit the winter down in Arizona. MP Builders and Exits own Daniel Pendergast have done these condos, range from 2-bed, 2-bath, 1,100 square feet, and some detached 1,400 square footers. Great opportunity. Now this is Arrow Hill, and Arrow Hill was a development that has spanned from the 1990s and up roughly through 2018 or 19. I don't know that there are any more lots available right now. These have been, pretty popular, but it's taken a little time to infill because they're a little bit bigger. The views, as you are going to see, are spectacular. And I use spectacular an awful lot, but I don't think that is an understatement for what we are about to see. In fact, right here on the left, this home that we're coming up on here is a 4,400 square foot, 4-bed, 4-bath that was built in 2000. It sits on 5.36 acres, and it's got a rather large barn. The barn itself is 2,600 square feet, and you can tell just by driving through here, this is really high end for the most part. These are paved driveways, a lot of space. These homes will sell for $1 million plus. The last one that actually sold here was actually a couple years ago. Again, there's no inventory in here, but they come up, and that last one was listed for 1.2 million and ended up selling for $1 million. 2,600 square feet on 5.01 acres. That was a 3-bed, 4-bath home. And you can see your blue spruces and whatnot. These properties have been here in the last 30 years, so the landscape has come along nicely. And as I mentioned, the views are spectacular. So as we go down here, we're going to pick up the balance of Arrow Hill. And I want to encourage you, if you have any interest in specific locations in western Montana, I suggest you go to our Montana overview and see where we work in Montana. And if there is about 61,000 square miles of real estate that we represent, of course, much of that is state and national ground. But in there are a number of communities around our office in Laurel, our office in Helena, our office in Great Falls, our office in Polson, our office in Missoula, and our offices in the Bitterroot, which includes Stevensville, Hamilton, and Darby. So if you have something that lies within that area that you see in the Montana overview video, by all means, reach out to us. We'll give you the straight skinny, and watch for videos that come out about those specific communities. Now we're going to head out west here a little bit into the country. And this is an area that has become extremely popular, and I'll explain why. But these are larger ranches. Most of these are in 20-acre parcels, but many of these families own, maybe up to 10 of these parcels. You can see a beautiful home out there in the distance. The thing is in 1864, Marcus Daly came into the valley and really fell in love with it, and had written a letter to his wife saying, I'm going to be here someday. So we've talked a lot about Marcus Daly, and he's had an enormous influence in the valley. 1888, Marcus Daly put together the Bitterroot stock farm on 22,000 acres, and this is just a look at what it looks like today. Now, fast forward some years later, and this is the Stock Farm Club, which was established in 1999. It is an 18-hole championship golf course and community. The golf course was designed by Tom Fazio, and it has a spectacular clubhouse and other amenities. Homes go from several million up to various sizes of lots. This home on the right, or on the left, that's coming up is actually outside of the Stock Farm Club. And that particular home is a 5-bedroom, 4-bath. It's approximately 4,400 square feet, and it sits on 3 acres, and it also has a 1,200 square foot guest quarters. And that actually closed back in June of 2019 for a bargain price of $860, because today that property would go for at least 50 to 60% more. That's just how much the market has grown. And so as we travel down, this is called Tammany Lane, and it hooks up with the Golf Course Road. So these are large ranches out here. Very seldom do they come up, but it's a beautiful drive. And you'll note these big poplar trees on the side of the road. That was very common, that Marcus Daly throughout his ranch would line the roads so he could ride in the shade. If you like playing golf, you don't have to join the Stock Farm Club and pay a couple $100,000 in super duper annual fees. You can come down here to the Hamilton Golf Club. And this is an 18-hole course, and the amenities include a driving range, the pro shop. It's got beer and wine and a deli, and the best views around. Now here's the clubhouse here and the cart barn. And so this is a great little course. It is 853 foot from the back tees, and it was built in 1924. Now this is a development here. This is called Silverado Estates, or Heights rather. There are 1+ acre parcels, 2,000 square foot homes, 3-bed, 3-bath usually. The last one sold for $825 in March of 23. Now, coming up here is the Canyons Athletic Club, and that was built on 10 acres in 2004, and it offers a variety of activities, including, weights, swimming, racket sports, just to name a few. This was built after the River Bend Athletic Club down on the river at the end of Main Street in Hamilton burned to the ground, and so they sold the ground and moved up here and built this really terrific facility called the Canyons. And right across from the Canyons is another development called Daly Estates. And Daly Estates, these homes are on half-acre lots with community water. They tend to range in size between 1,700 and 2,300 square feet. Most of these were built between 2004 and 2021, so it's had quite a long development history. Now, there are some vacant lots in this development still, not many. There's a 1,700 square foot home here under contract that was listed for $629, and our market has softened a little bit here. but I imagine it's going to go for probably something in the order of 97 to 98% of ask price. That's what we're seeing in our market previously in 2021, particularly 2021. The pricing was about 104% regionally, what people were getting. So they were getting over ask. So these are small tracts out in the country, not far from Hamilton. Side of Hamilton, we get a little bit of a mix of properties, little country, some nicer homes. That one right there that you see is nearly 4,000 square feet on 7+ acres of riverfront property. And then right next to it is a small home that's a rental on some ground that was built back, I believe, in the 20s. Now, interestingly enough, there's a fact about Hamilton. It has become a scientific research and manufacturing area. And with Rocky Mountain Labs opening in 1928, there were PhDs from all across the country that could be found in Hamilton. And in 1981, Dr. Edgar Reeby, John Cantrell, Stephen Schwartzman, and Reno Parker started Reeby Aminichem, and that became Corixa. And then Corixa does business now as the pharmaceutical giant GSK, who has this huge facility that employs over 200 people and 193,000 square feet of space. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. You know, Montana is an exceptional state. It represents a Western lifestyle with limited outdoor opportunities from hunting, fishing, hiking, skiing, much more. The Bitterroot Valley is the crown jewel, and Hamilton, Montana is the centerpiece of the valley. If you want to know more about Montana real estate, send us a text, shoot us an email, give us a call. All the information is in the description below.